Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's your hosts Iain and Gary.
Hello.
And today we're joined by Geoff.
Hi there.
Which we just recently cloned. As you might remember, previous Geoff had an unfortunate accident and he tried to kill us. So we've got a clone Geoff who's here to do the review. And today we're going to review Multiplicity. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, the story follows Michael Keaton's character, Doug Kenny, who is a hard-working family man. He works so much for his construction firm that he has no time to spend with his wife or his two children. So he just happens to come across a doctor who's perfected the art of cloning. He manages to get a clone of himself, and his life slightly gets better up until the point he decides to get more clones for himself. Then things start to get a bit crazy.
This is a film by writer, director, actor Harold Ramis, who's probably most well known for perhaps Ghostbusters or Caddyshack or Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see that he likes to work with some of the same actors again and again.
Yeah.
So this film, it literally sits within his realm of filmmaking quite comfortably. So if you're already a fan of Harold Ramis movies, you definitely know what you're getting yourself in for with this film. And to an extent, it is a family drama movie with some adult jokes thrown in there. This is a very light-hearted movie.
It's just kind of situational comedy, really, isn't it? There are some gags, but mostly what's meant to be funny about it is the little pickle that he's getting himself into, having loads of copies of him.
Ever saw a guy wash another guy's face before?
It's a film that does actually kind of ask the question. Well, it doesn't really explore the issues of cloning, like the implications of it. There's quite a farcical kind of approach to it, where the idea behind it is that you would have more time in your life to be able to... You know, you always say, if I could split myself into two, I could do both things at the same time.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the idea of this has come from, quite literally.
There's nothing really scientific about the cloning, especially now that we've actually have cloned living beings now. The plot premise does seem a bit silly. But it's like you say, Gary said the nail on the head. It's more about the idea of, what if you could make a copy of yourself that had all your memories as well up until that point?
You kind of always have the question is like, what would you ask yourself if you had the opportunity to? And, you know, the idea is kind of there, like the very first time Doug meets Doug.
Is that it?
No, I'm afraid you're it.
What do you mean I'm it? I can't be it. You mean you think I'm the clone?
That's right.
And clone Doug can't believe that he's the clone until they have to prove it to him. I thought that there was quite nice, but after that it's just kind of it's just silly time.
See, I go against everything these guys say. You don't look at this film too deeply. It is Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is a fucking awesome actor, and you get 4 versions of him in this film. You know, you've got your normal Doug Kenny who's trying to do everything to look after his family and, you know, do his best at his job and things like that. Then you have Doug 2, who we get to know as Lance later on, and he's just the aggressive one, the go-to guy who's constantly always working. You know,
He's the more masculine one, isn't he?
Yeah. As soon as he gets that leather jacket, he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm handsome."
He's good at construction. He's like, they bump chests, and you know, he's more man than the actual Doug. So Doug's like, oh, you know.
You then get Rico, the polite, you know,
He's
one.
camp.
He's camp.
the camp version of Doug.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could do together.
And then later on, you do get number 4, who is, a little bit not all there, shall we say.
Is he safe with that razor? I mean, yeah, we take the blade out. Drew and I shave him at night while he's sleeping.
You know, yeah, we call him special, but it's for me, it's just Michael Keaton all the way through. I just love the way that Michael Keaton manages to, you know, appear on screen talking really, really intelligently, you know, getting straight to the point, and then can immediately just turn to this aggressive person and be like, I'm going to smash your head in with a hammer in a minute if you piss me off.
We're going to destroy Ted. We must bring Ted down.
Yes,
we must crush Ted.
Yes.
I want to get Ted.
Talk to me.
Arena.
Talk to me. And I will break his little neck. Now chest me. Come on. Oh, yeah.
I got so many sparks of Beetlejuice coming from his performance in this film.
Oh, hey, no, you're asking me. Can it be scary? What do you think of this?
Which did actually make me think I would probably rather be watching.
But you know, it's one of those films, isn't it? You know, we're not saying it's the best film ever made, but you know, going back and watching it again after God knows how many years, 10, 15 years of seeing it, it was fun to think that, you know, at that time in 1996, the technology was new. You know, they recently that year just come off of Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy, which, you know, is a slightly better movie. It just doesn't have Michael Keaton in it for me. You know? And they you know, they took the technology, and you know, you can see through it. You know, having 4 Dougs on screen, you're like, oh, they're not really there. But looking into the history of the making of the film as well, Michael Keaton's performance was so perfect on certain shots. They didn't have to digitally add anything into the background. They just went with Michael Keaton and his stunt double, and then obviously superimposing on top of that. I do, at the same time, have a thing for Andie MacDowell in this film. She is my my mother next door, shall we say, kind of character, and she's this fun wife character who's obviously trying to keep Doug anchored at home, but obviously understands that he has to go off to work to make the money to build up the house, and that makes the family storyline a little bit more survivable, shall we say, while watching the film.
Well, I mean, for me, Andie MacDowell just doesn't really get out of the realms of eye candy, to be honest. I pretty much tried to ignore her performance, shall we say, because it wasn't particularly wasn't particularly on par. You could definitely tell that she was acting, but there's one scene where we get a couple of scenes actually where we get her in a nightdress. So yeah.
The supporting characters as well. You've got Brian Doyle Murray in it as well. Eugene Levy. You know, you've just got is it John
Delancey from Q from Star Trek.
You know, these side characters are more, you know, just a little bit of comedy action to bounce off from Michael Keaton's performance, but they do keep the jokes going and the pace going. But it really ultimately comes down to getting all these different versions of Michael Keaton into one room and having them just have these verbal arguments. It's so brilliant.
Okay, listen to me. This is the number 1 rule, okay? This is unbreakable. You can't even try to even bend this rule, all right? Nobody has sex with my wife but me.
Hey, talk to him.
Fabulous rule, Doug. Fabulous rule.
As the film progresses, I will say that it is a 2-hour running time of the movie. It is actually quite long, but there are quite a lot of very nice scenes throughout the movie where you do have all of the Michael Keaton characters, Doug Kinney's kind of sneaking around the house, and there's scenes where, you know, where one of them's just coming home from work and the other one's just finished doing the dishes, and they have to quickly swap over, and the wife's just like, did you just change your t-shirt? And he's like, no, I've had this on all day.
You're crazy.
And you do watch like some of the other characters start to feel crazy when they have conversations with him, and then 30 minutes later, he doesn't recall the conversation that he's had because they've just swapped him over again.
Dad, watch this.
Wow, great. Hey, let me show you how to walk the dog.
You just showed me before dinner.
I did? Oh, right. That's right, I did. I forgot.
I thought their play on that was actually quite interesting and actually very well pulled off. And like you said about the effect of having multiple copies of him talking with himself. There's quite a lot of times where they just cut to separate Michael Keatons, where you could tell they're filmed, you know, they're all filmed separately anyway.
Yeah.
But their interaction with each other and their eyesight to eyesight or eyeline was spot on every single time.
So I like the little nods as well. I mean, they didn't go into too much of the science of cloning. It was a simple case of take the blood, stick it in the machine and wait for it to go ding. You know, but there was one part where Michael Keaton's just about to get himself cloned, and you know, he just brings up The Fly with Jeff Goldblum and just basically says, you know, I've seen the film, you know, and I don't want this to happen to me. You know, where he's eating and he's just melting. I was like, yeah, that's a good little nod.
Yeah, but that was teleporters. Yeah.
Sorry, but did you see that movie, The Fly? Mm-hmm. You know, Jeff Goldblum comes out, he's got these enormous eyes, you know, I mean, peripheral vision is one thing, but, you know, it's a bad look. And he's always eating everything with little hands and everything. I don't know. Just
relax now.
All right, I'm sorry.
If you like Adam Sandler films, it's very similar to that kind of concept.
Or Ben Stiller, maybe.
Yeah, Ben Stiller. That kind of sort of... I mean, for me, I find those films particularly average, and for me, this film is fairly average. It certainly wasn't a laugh a minute for me, but there was a couple of gags in there that the premise built up to, and you know, some of them are cringeworthy, and some of them they might make you chuckle a little bit. I don't think that there's anything there that would make me avidly want to watch it again, but you can tolerate it, no problem.
Sorry. He's kissing her. Come on.
You stop pushing.
Yeah, the film does get very corny, and of course the film does have to add the drama element to when things start to spiral out of control, when there are multiple clones walking around, and the number one, the original copy of Doug, wants to go away, like on a boat trip for just a couple of days, just to play golf, and he leaves all of his other clones to run his life for him while he's away. And of course, everything that could go wrong goes wrong. The rules that he gives to them are all broken. And then when he comes back, you know, his marriage is a sham. Yeah. The house is falling apart. Everything has gone wrong, and so you kind of have to. It's typical tropes.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. So now I have to pick up the pieces and understand what I've done wrong. And the film's kind of message is ham-fisted straight to you. You don't really have to think about it, and the message is that you enjoy all of the time that you have, even though you may not be doing the things you want to do. The time that you do have, even if it is just passing, having breakfast in the morning, is still quality time. Yeah. And so there is a really sweet message from a very sweet movie, but it does take its time to get to that point. The scenes they are not always as funny as you would expect. I mean, I am very fussy with comedy movies anyway, so I will be honest, I did not laugh that much throughout the movie at all. However, I still was engrossed within watching all of the Michael Keatons interacting with each other. So it does carry you through the movie to that point.
See, that is the bridge of it. If you're watching Multiplicity, you're watching it because you're a Michael Keaton fan and you just want to watch multiple versions of him.
Hey, Vic.
Hi, Vic.
So your favourite scene, Iain?
See, big fan of the movie, but my ultimate favourite scene has to be where Andie MacDowell, the slut, sleeps with the 3 clones while the real Doug is away. She ends up sleeping with the camp one first, then ultimately goes downstairs and mistakes the rugged number 2 clone for Doug again and sleeps with him on the sofa, and then inadvertently takes the stupid clone upstairs and realises he's got a massive hard-on and takes him off to have sex. And I'm just like, yeah, you go, Andie MacDowell, you do it.
3 times in one night.
3 times, Bob. She said you never went 3 times, Bob.
I think my favourite scenes... I didn't really have a favourite scene in the entire film. I enjoyed the whole experience to an extent, but I would go, if I had to choose favourite scenes, I would probably go with all of the Eugene Levy scenes. Yeah. From the mishap at the beginning where he's making a new driveway for the wrong house, or whether he's got the silly watch from New York and it's in New York time, and so he turns up to work late, or and just him turning up at the end to help out. Geoff, your favourite scene?
Well, the only bit that actually made me laugh was when Andie MacDowell shags the 3 copies. But since Ian already took that, I'll have to go with Andie MacDowell's nipples through her nightshirt.
Oh, she's not. She's just eye candy. I wasn't watching her for the acting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ah, clone Geoff.
I definitely recommend this film. I recommend it because it's a classic comedy, and for an added bonus, you get Michael Keaton pulling off an extraordinary performance. I wouldn't rush out and watch it just on our say, but you know, if you come across it, watch it. It's fun.
I would say this is a hangover movie. This is it's something you don't have to think about whatsoever. If you just want to watch some goofy situational comedy moments, I think it's enjoyable, and I think the hamstrung message within it is bearable. I wouldn't say it's overly funny, but it is a typical Harold Ramis movie, and I can't really recommend the movie. I would say go and watch Beetlejuice instead if you really want to watch a Michael Keaton movie.
You bunch of losers! You're working with a professional here!
Recommend the movie, Geoff?
If you like Ben Stiller films and Adam Sandler films and you think they're funny and they entertain you, then this will probably entertain you. If you're looking for something that's a brain switch off, again, that could entertain you. But if you're looking for something that's really going to feel like a valuable spending of your time, then you'd probably be better off avoiding it.
Gee, Del, being a little dramatic, aren't you?
Thanks for watching. I get it.
Hello, Gary. Gary. Rock on, Gary. Hey, Gary, man.
There's fuck, guys. There's a fight down there, mate.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's just the way it is. Hi, Gary. Hey, bro.
Hey, Gary.
Yo, bro.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.